Hey, dear yogis. Thank you so much for joining me here at my casa for kind of a quick practice, I think easy access and no yoga mat, just something to sit
The
on,
problem is you
comfy
disappeared.
clothes, and all of that kind of stuff. Feel free to light your incense, have music, do whatever you want to do. And I've got my chocolate for the chocolate meditation handy. We're going to start with just centering, coming into our breath and noticing our bodies. I don't know what your day has been like, but if it's been fast paced, any hurry or worry, very little of your attention has been in your body. So we'll start simply by rooting through the sits bones, rising through the crown, and we'll do 3 sighing breaths. Slowly in through the nose. More. We're going to start a little cow cat. And so you're just going to have your hands on your knees and inhale, draw the heart forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone and draw back. And I've got mom here in the room practicing with me. So if it sounds like there's 2 people breathing, there are. First, you're hearing your breath. I think it's fun to remember sometimes what an incredible blessing it is to just be able to breathe deep, beautiful breaths, to feel healthy, to feel alive. One more like that. Feel free to come into your ujjayi, that nice throat contraction. And then with your knees wide, we're just going to do a little kind of spinal twisting, side body stretching. You could take your head and rotate away. We sometimes do this when we're in cow cat. I've been trying to remind people all week, really, that you can do yoga throughout the coming days of your holidays without getting out of mat, without spending a lot of time. You're going to come into essentially a seated pigeon pose. So cross one ankle onto your thigh, keeping the heel flexed to protect that knee joint. And sometimes I like just doing a little wag, so that downward motion of the knee can feel really good. And now to create that piriformis hip stretch, I'm going to kind of cup my forearm under the knee, hugging my chest towards the calf. And what you'll notice is you can really play with angle here. So if I've got my right knee, for example, hugged, and if I take my left shoulder a little towards that knee, I definitely find some treasure to breathe into. And that feels complete. A fun little potential add-on, only if it doesn't strain your neck, is to bring your leg up and do what we call good foot or good leg. Again, just creating some nice synovial fluid into the joints so that, when you're gift wrapping or shoveling or whatever you're getting up to, you'll stay great and healthy and fluid, injury-free, right? Crossing the other ankle onto the thigh and stay rooted and rising. If you're on something that's too soft, feel free to move and get something else. If that's not feeling great to you and you want to come over here, feel free. All right, then I'm gonna hug underneath. Just bringing that chest towards the leg feels so good. And you might rotate towards the knee a little bit. Always letting breath take space. The breath is the change agent. And coming up, again, if it feels good, you can hug that leg, scoop it up, and taking it side to side. Nice. Rolling out ankles, perhaps. And then we're going to take those knees wide once more. We're going to do a forward fold right here. Depending on the surface you're on, if you feel like you're going to slide right off, or if it would just feel better You can take that forward fold in your seated position into just a ragdoll by raising the hips. So just notice what feels best tonight. What's your mood? How much floppy? How much active? Emphasizing that inhale, and if you have that arms kind of extended, I'm hoping you can feel some good stretch into that upper back, kind of like we do in puppy stretch or in child's pose. You might use your hands and a little bit of a cat back to come gently up. And we're just going to notice what's in our neck. And I'm going to move my head like it's a slow little top spinning, nothing dramatic. Until I'm ready to let my head fold down towards the chest, chin towards chest. I kind of wish we all had our microphones on because I would really love to hear you say, like, how many of you feel super tight here? I really do. Take a deep breath into it. And if you wag your head just a little right and left, maybe for a breath each, you might feel some of those tensioning lines into around the shoulder blades. And that's a huge area that people ask for in massage. It's one of those areas that I think takes on so much tension without us even realizing it until we're just sort of all bound up. Make sure you do both sides, deep breath, and then come on back. And again, as much of this next bit as you want to do seated or standing, completely up to you. I'm going to do kind of a combo, but just please do what feels best in your body. And speaking of that, we're doing some nice Kapalabhati or breath of fire. So big, kind of deep enough inhales and then big expulsions, belly towards spine. Opportunity to do some arm movement with that. So a classic would be kind of out to the side. You could even add a mudra of having your fingers kind of folded in and your thumbs up. You could also do, I really like this mudra where you've got your index finger and thumb together and the other finger is extended. A really classic thing to do is to have them up, again, with a mudra or without. But I want you to just notice, again, whether you're seated or standing, if any of that is culminating in tension in the trap muscles and up into the neck, maybe you want to just be down like so, all right, whatever feels good. So as you're ready, nice long inhale and begin those expulsions. And as you continue, I'm going to ask you to scan your face muscles, your neck muscles, soften anything that doesn't need to be contracted. Really isolate that core. We'll do just a few more. And then inhaling, sweeping up, maybe the hands touch, or again, maybe you keep them wide to protect your neck. Exhaling, we're going to come into claws, lion stretch, open the jaw. Beautiful. And when you're ready, again, feel free to move and come into your next round, whatever that arm position is. Keep it going for a little bit longer. I hope you're feeling some heat. If you're feeling head pressure because you're stuffy or anything, feel free to just do little sips through the nose or just slow, deep, and wide breath. All right. They're all useful. The Kapalabhati tends to really help just clear the engine. All right. And then long inhale, perhaps sweeping up. Exhaling, lion stretch. We'll do one more round. So, a lot of people experience stress during the holidays, unfortunately, of many kinds, everything from just hurrying and worrying, trying to get everything just so, to maybe dealing with some family members who are challenging, whatever it might be. This is a great time to just picture moving all of that energy through, and then especially in that lion stretch. One more round, hopefully you're already at it. Feel free to play with your pacing, speed it, slow it. And then one more long inhale. If you're standing, maybe you want to send those hips forward. Exhaling, lion. Gorgeous. And then we're going to take those hands back to that occipital ridge. So really getting your fingers in at that base of the skull. And there are lots of ways to get in there. You can kind of just get at it like this. You can also hold the skull, which can give you some pretty good power in those thumbs. Oh, and I love going up and over that occipital ridge. There's this wonderful valley in there. Oof, da. You might move the jaw side to side, and nobody can see you, so you might decide this is the time to go for that vigorous scalp rub. I mean, you know how great it feels like if someone's washing your hair at the hairdresser's, right? Just get in there. Again, lift any stagnation, dust off. And all of these are things you can do easily, independently. You don't even have to be doing this for more than a minute at a time, and you can bust out some of these things. After that, you might just sort of sweep yourself off. Whew, whatever your day has been, whatever your week, whatever your year, right? All right, we're gonna come back to our thing that we're sitting on. And I'm gonna invite you to basically be doing some lunging. So you just need to make sure that thing's not going to move on you. So if you're using a chair, you might push it up against a wall. You could even use a countertop if you're really flexible and you want to go high, right? So you've got options. But we're just going to have our hands on our hips, and we're sending those hips forward and back. Yeah. You just slide it a little further, it'll stabilize. There you go. It is kind of fun, actually, to look around your house and figure out what can I use for what. Yeah. All right. The next time hips are forward, holding the arms up, big inhale, and hoping you get a stretch into those hip flexors and psoas. Lovely. And as we flex back, I'm going to flex my foot that was up on the surface. I'm not going to straighten my knee, because for me, a lot of times that takes that hand stretch right to behind the knee. Instead, I'm going to keep it a little bent, and I'm going to fold. And maybe you can put your hands on the bench or ottoman. And I'm inviting you to kind of go side to side with your shoulders and head. You can also play with kind of just rotating your toes a little in and out. And when you come off, we're going to go right into quadricep stretch. So again, if you need to hold on to something, a wall, go for it. And then clasp that ankle behind you. And one thing that I've been playing with a lot, because I really feel so much quadricep tension in general, is getting the stretch, enjoying it for a few breaths. And then we're going to create a little resistance stretching. So I'm going to press my ankle into my hand, doggy, and then bring the ankle back to the butt. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. One more. And then feel free to kick it out. A good balance challenge, right? Yeah, lots of fun. All right, next side. We're going to go back to our object of support. Here we go. And put that foot flat as we send the hips forward and back. Obviously, if along the way you get inspired for some little add-on, make it organic. This is your deal. And at some point, holding forward and adding those arms, or you could just add one arm. If you are adding one, it would be the same arm as the leg you have back to help that beautiful front line stretch. Is this side different? And as you're ready, we'll flex back, flexing the toes, folding towards that thigh. And again, going a little side to side. Deep, nourishing breaths, taking it wherever you feel needs more fluidity. Bring it on out. And when you're ready, come on into that quadricep stretch. Yeah. So again, the balance challenge part of this, I love. But if it's creating so much challenge that you're not really feeling a good stretch, please go find something to connect with, because I think the stretch is more important at this point. Make sure you let that shoulder be drawn back so you're not holding. Is this side different? And then as you're ready, engage ankle into hand and soften, and ankle into hand. Ooh, and soften, or you might be using a strap. One more. And release, kick it out. Nice work. All right, we're going to come into another rag doll, essentially. Maybe you haven't been there yet. And take your feet as wide as you can without the fear of them like slipping on you. And we're just going to do some nice side to side. You know, this is one of my all-time favorite poses to bust out, you know, whatever width is comfortable. I'll do it during the day when I've been at my standing desk a bunch. And especially if I've been thinking a lot, man, it feels so good to just kind of imagine. In fact, Mom always says, you know, imagine you've got a skylight at the top of your head, you know, and as you're doing that nice ujjayi, just dumping anything that feels fuzzy and buzzy and heavy and thick, dust it out. And when you come up, we're going to do some standing hip pump. This is again, a great thing you can do standing wherever you are. So we're going to just come into a little bit of a chair. You get to decide how much. You can go really deep into your squat if you want. And then exhaling, glute squeeze forward. And you can bring those arms back. Just be careful again that you're not overdoing. Inhaling, nice soft neck. Exhaling, powerful core. Light connection, tip of the tongue. Few more. And the next time standing, we're going to then bring our arms up. Pause, notice, I'm hoping you're feeling just some good heat and heart rate. We're going to bring those arms slowly down, and you might kind of flex the palms. And this is another one that might get you into some of those nerve channels. There's the radial nerve, ulnar nerve, all that. You might get into some of that. Oh, good. And let's intertwine Yoga Mudra. This is one where having a scarf or a strap might allow you to get into a better angle. We for sure want to be able to get the elbows straight, the shoulder heads to be able to wrap down and back. And then if you want to take it into a fold and add gravity, oh, baby. And slowly come up. And I've got kind of a fun arm, shoulder, chest combo for you tonight. And it ultimately takes us into kind of a standing thread the needle. But basically just one arm at a time. And you've got the arm you're going to be using in a cactus arm. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking the cactus arm back and forth into whatever is a comfortable range of motion. You're going to be taking your face away from your cactus arm. So I'm going to take my right arm out to the right, and I'm going to look to the left and then bring it back. And I'm not matching it with my breath. I'm just going in whatever timing feels good. Sometimes I hold in that like open position, almost like you're yawning, and kind of squeeze those shoulder blades. And then bring it around in front to thread the needle. Hold at the elbow, looking a little towards your hand, and then tilting down. And I have you do that because it tends to create less chest compression than if your face is still forward. Here again, I'm hoping you start to feel a massage around that shoulder blade, down all that connectivity for the shoulder joint. And at some point, up and away. And clunk, clunk, clunk. Let's find the other side. So now I'm using my left arm and that cactus arm. And again, it's just whatever range of motion feels good. And looking away, and everything comes back to center. Looking away. Is this side different? And it might feel good to hold. You can even take that elbow up a little, like just get organic, you know my gig. All right, and crossing, thread the needle, looking a little towards the hand and tilting down towards that hand until you feel those stretches into the left side. Always letting the breath have room. And I haven't said it overtly, but you guys know and wouldn't be surprised. Of all the things we can be doing throughout our holidays, throughout the day without getting out the yoga mat, it's breathing, right? So those sighing breaths or just taking breath deep into your body, making sure if you are in fact going out there and shoveling tonight, tomorrow, that you treat it like an athletic event. Inhale, exhale, belly to spine, and really use those rooting muscles. So one of my favorite places, as you know, to activate those rooting muscles is when we lay down and we do butterfly and raise the hips. Well, we're not doing that here. So I'm going to have you, in fact, just stand with your soles of your feet flat, big toes touching. We often do this when we're preparing for tree pose. And you might just have your hands lightly in prayer, light connection, tip of the tongue, because again, we're just going to come into a state of peace everywhere else as we now root down through our feet. And I want you to just squeeze those inner thighs and glutes and pelvic floor. It's like you've got a little note between your thighs that you don't want to blow away. Maybe it's $1,000 note. Maybe it's a note that says world peace, whatever it might be. You want that prayer to be heard. So squeeze and unsqueeze. And I want you to just imagine for a moment that someone is going to come along and they're going to kind of press your chest or press you from behind or from the side. And you can just kind of play with taking your weight a little forward, back and side. But my hope is that you sense that you would be able to stay pretty glued unless it was a very vigorous movement. So as we continue to shift our weight, please, again, tune into breath and particularly the softness, the non-doer, the non-striver. Yeah. All right. I'm going to just take my feet out a little bit from there and just some nice gentle hip movements. And if it would feel good, one last, in a sense, kind of resting posture, either ragdoll standing, ragdoll sitting, and let it all hang out. Find the 3 deepest breaths that you've had all day, all practice. And as you guys know, I love using simple mantras to shift my energy, to shift the texture of my tissues. I can get so tight and sore if I'm busy or I'm hurrying. And as much as stretching and breathing are fantastic, the words we tell ourselves are as well. So as we head into the holidays here, and again, I hate to refer to them as stressful, but I really know they can be for a lot of people in various ways. I'm going to ask you to just come with your eyes closed a moment and reflect. Is there any particular stressful word or thought that you tend to have that's repetitive? Maybe it's that there's not enough time. Maybe there's not enough money. Maybe you're worried how you're going to get it all done. And then I'm going to ask you to consider a word or a small phrase, a mantra that you could repeat that kind of answers that energy whenever that bubbles up. A beautiful one to answer the things that I just brought up is a mantra that Mom shared with our yogis a long time ago. Plenty of time, plenty of help, plenty of money. And I find that when I say that, even if I don't actually believe it, some part of me's arguing with it. It's like, no, but I feel it really shifts things cellularly. Maybe it's something else that you want to come up with. We've come up with things just like affirming safety and goodness, right? So I challenge you to spend a little reflective time. It could be while you're out on a walk, it could be as you're drifting off to sleep, considering what words would create nourishment and kind of renovate any of the tensions that tend to be a chronic thing for you. And lastly, I'm going to enjoy some chocolate, and I hope you'll get to either enjoy a piece of chocolate, like I said, or meditate on maybe a tasty berry or a piece of cheese, or it could be something visual, something even in your mind's eye if you'd like. But I love how taking something, especially something you've eaten many times before, and really taking your time with it changes your experience of the thing. Do you want to have some chocolate? She'll abstain. So I'm going to take just a little piece of dark chocolate. We're going to take whatever it is that we're meditating on. If you're putting something in your mouth, the challenge is to just let it soften and do its thing without you chewing it. Feel free to move it around and notice how it changes in different parts of the mouth as well. All right, here we go. Notice if your mind wanders away from your object of focus and your body, bring it back. Tether it with curiosity. Challenge it to notice more detail. You might notice change in texture, flavor, in the sensations and responses of the body. Mm. And if your chocolate or object has disappeared, I invite you to notice what remains in terms of experience. And lastly, I invite all of us to reflect. If you eat chocolate regularly, was this different? And if that's the case, are there other things that we do regularly, whether it's that morning beverage or saying, "Good morning, I love you," to someone we share space with, or listening to a bird song, whatever it might be, that we can train ourselves to actually pay or give more attention? Again, tether all of our senses to that moment and experience and take more nourishment out of it, more beauty, more pleasure. It seems to me that this skill, this practice, and developing this particular muscle is really important when we're going to be spending more time with people that are precious to us and doing things that are special, to make sure that at the end of it, we don't feel like it was just a big blur that we barely took in. So I wish you so much pleasure, so much health. I hope that some of these little exercises occur to you to bust them out in the kitchen or while you're still lying in bed first thing in the morning, that you feel inspired to maybe get some of your loved ones to do them with you. But I hope you feel really beautiful and fantastic as we enter into the next year. And I look forward to being at the night with you. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. And namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Still learning how to, turn the thing on. Gotta put my glasses on. Yeah, and I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to stay. Great to see you, Brenda. Thanks for coming. So glad that you did. Be well, everybody.